Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. Hello. So 3 years ago, I posted this video, and I was very embarrassed, nervous, sort of kind of ashamed to share this story, right? But I still went ahead and did it because I did feel like it can help other sisters. And I thought if I can make this mistake, I'm sure many other sisters will probably make the same mistake. And I went ahead and I did it. But I did not know that for the past 3+ years, this video, I will be thinking about this video and I will feel very cringed, and I'll have the urge to want to take it down because I was like, I think it's because it showed a lot of how naive I was and my mistakes, and it was just kind of embarrassing for me personally, right? Because everybody wants other people to see the good side of them, right? So, but I had the urge to, take it down, and I have came close a couple times, but I refused. Number one, because 3,000 people have already seen it, so there's no point in that. And number two, I still feel like other sisters could benefit from it. So I was like, it is what it is. Don't touch it. But throughout the years, I pondered on what were the mistakes that I have made, right? What were those mistakes? Because I'm like, there's no way that should have happened, right? There's no way I should have experienced such of a thing. Right? So what were the mistakes? And I thought about that. So, which is why I wanted to create this video, because I wanted to focus on, number one, what were the mistakes that I had made? Number two, what is it that I could have done differently? And number three, I wanted to address this comment. She was asking if a mahram would have been there, or if I would have traveled with a mahram, how could he prevented it, right? Because he himself would have probably gone to prayer with the rest of the group, right? So I want to address this comment as well. So, but I do recommend that you pause this video and go watch the other one, because I feel like it might not make sense. But to share a little glimpse, or to give a little context, a background story, just so that you're not completely lost, is I went to Umrah with a group of people from my Quran class. We were in Medina. The group decided to go pray at the masjid, and I decided to remain at my hotel, where I stayed with two other women. I didn't say, I remained at the hotel because I wasn't praying, basically. And I was hungry that day. I decided to order a room service, and I guess 30 minutes later, my food arrived. I opened the door. There was a knock on the door. I opened the door. There was a brother standing with my tray. I tried to grab the tray from him, but he said that it was heavy, and that he, insisted that he brings it inside and place it on the table. And so I opened the door for him. He came inside. I kept the door open, and I stood right next to the door, because I didn't feel comfortable, obviously, right? Because you cannot be alone with a guy, obviously, right? He turned to me and he says, okay, well, do you have, just double check to see if you have all your food, basically, is what he was asking. And I looked and I realized that they didn't have my oatmeal, and that's what I wanted more than anything. Like, I was craving oatmeal that day. So I let him know, and I said, hey, they don't have my oatmeal. And he didn't know what that was. I said, oatmeal, porridge, like, he still didn't get what oatmeal meant. So I said, can I write it for you since you don't know, right? He said, instead, why don't you give them a call? That would be better. So I walked over to where my phone was, and I sat on the edge of my bed to make the call. And I looked back, assuming that he would leave, right? But he was still there. So I was like, why is he still there? So I was a bit confused, but I continued dialing, and somehow, I don't know what was going on with the phone. The call was not going in, or was not going through. And I let him know, and he said, well, let me go ahead and help you, and figure out for you and whatnot. But can I sit next to you, where I was, like, at, on my bed? And at that point, I was like, you know what, this is crazy. I was shocked. I told him to leave. And he was shocked. He just kind of like left because he realized how serious I was. And that situation was taken care of, because I don't want to go in detail because I talked about that in detail in my other video. But I handled that situation and he was fired, and I'm sure there's a lot more that has to happen to him. But if you want to find out in detail what happened, just go ahead and watch that video. But that was that. So my thing though was, I thought about that moment a lot of times, because what is it that I have done wrong that made this man comfortable enough to ask if he can sit next to me in my bed? Like, that was what really like threw me off. I must have done something that gave him the confidence, right, to do that. Like, right? So I've been thinking about this for years. This happened like 2014, you guys, and I've been like almost 10 years. I've been thinking about that. The first mistake is the fact that I went to Umrah without a mahram. That was my mistake. Even though I went with my Quran teacher and, you know, and other group of members in my Quran class, it's still like I feel like I should have gone to Umrah with my mahram. That was the first mistake I've done. I should have done that. Number two, the fact that I did not insist on taking the tray from him, and I just let him in. Like, that was the other mistake, right? And the third mistake I have made, and I thought about this, was how friendly I was, right? I wasn't, you know, I was just friendly. Like, I was like, you know, it's just my voice and just the way I, you know, normally act. Like, I was friendly, and that's an issue. And the reason why it's an issue is this: I'm Somalian American. I was raised here in America. We are, you know, the way we interact with the opposite, or not the opposite, the way we interact with everybody is in a friendly manner, right? And we're very open. And I'm going into a culture where men and women hardly interact, and if they do, it's very direct, very straightforward, not looking at each other. You know what I mean? It's a very, very conservative, right? And this guy is thinking, oh, like, he've never really, probably, I don't know, like, seen, I don't know, someone like me. I don't know. So he's thinking, oh, she's friendly. I don't know what he was thinking, but he probably thought I was easy because of that. He probably read into it much. And I also heard, this is a side note, I heard that American women are seen easy by other men from different cultures, from different countries. That's what I heard. I don't know how true that is, but look, I'm thinking about the situation all the time. So I think those are the mistakes that I have made. I was extra friendly. I let him in, even though I kept the door, and I was right at the door, and that was my other mistake. And the other mistake that I have made was when I had that discomfort, that feeling where he was still there while I was placing the call. I should have told him then and there to, oh, you can go now. Well, you know, you can go, because why is he there? You already told me what number to call and all that. We're good, right? So I should have listened to my instincts. And that was one of the mistakes. I feel like as women, though, when we feel uncomfortable in certain situations, a lot of us don't talk. Like, it's like we make excuses. We're trying to rationalize. No, like, we should follow our instincts. I had a strong feeling it's a no what he's doing. Why is he still standing there? His job is done. He already bought the food. He already told me what I needed to do. So why is he there? So that was something I should have handled it right there and then. So those are my mistakes. And so yeah, and I hope you watching this and you're taking notes, because you know, I hope you can learn from it as well. But I want to also address this comment right here where the sister says, let me go ahead and read it because I don't quite remember. What did she said? She said, I don't know how having a mahram there would have prevented this from happening. Surely he would have gone to perform his prayers, leaving you in the hotel room by yourself. Anyway, good point. Totally understand that. But here's the thing. I know my husband. SubhanAllah. It's been 7 years we've been married. I know him. What he would have done was this. He would have made sure that he would have gotten the food for me, right? He would have told me, hey, it's 30 minutes. I don't think you want to wait that long. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I got that for you so you're good to go and you don't have to make that extra step. You're okay, right? Or what he could have done was, or I think he would have done was tell me to come with him. Like, he would have told me, I know you're not praying and all that, but you should just come with me and just, you could just listen to the Quran. You could see people pray. That it's a lot better than you just staying inside the hotel and just, chilling, right? I think that's what he would have done, right? Just knowing him for that 7 years, I think he would have done that. But the other thing is men tend to, the reason why I say you shouldn't go without a mahram, because men tend to pick things much faster than us. Like, they understand things when it comes to protecting their family, protecting their women, protecting the people they love. They're hyper protective. Like, they're very, how can I say? I'll give you an example. We're walking down the street or we're at some place out, and I noticed that my husband is constantly looking around, right? And always just, reading the room, looking at different men, and just, and I didn't notice that. I've been married to this guy for 7 years. I didn't notice that until I seen a video on YouTube where a guy was talking about how men are hyper protective when they're out with their women and they're out with their family and they're constantly, looking for danger, right? I didn't know until I watched that video, and then I started to observe my husband. He does that constantly. Every moment he does that, right? Always scanning the room, always scanning the area, always looking, always. I was like, and I had no clue. And that's one of the things the guy said in the video. Women don't even know that. They don't even notice that. And men are constantly, every second, like that, right? But I honestly, sisters, please do not travel without a mahram. Honestly, there's even more things that have happened, and you'll well, I didn't mention that in the other video, but I got stopped right at the airport as we were coming back to the United States. I got stopped for random pick, right? And none of the group of members didn't go with me. Like, I was held for 30 minutes in line, for what? I have no idea what's going on. This was the first time that I went out. Well, this is the second time, I guess, I went out of the country, and each of those 2 times I was stopped for a random pick. So, and I realized I kind of felt scared at the time. I was kind of lonely. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, what's happening? Like, I didn't anticipate this. And if my husband was there, if I was married, because I wasn't married at the time, but if my husband was there, if my brother was there, or even a family member, right, they would have been there with me, making sure that everything was good. But alhamdulillah, I still had Allah took care of it, and I wasn't held for too long, alhamdulillah. But there was just so many other things, like little things that I feel like if I would have a mahram, I would have felt that extra protective, extra security. So yeah. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please press the like button and subscribe and turn on your notification bell, inshallah. And I'll see you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum. Take care.